Happy Friday, everybody. Hopefully there are some people that are joining me here tonight. I'm just getting set up to see if this is actually live on my page. And last week it gave me some grief, so we'll see. Oh, I think it's here. Let's make sure my volume is off on my... Hi, Lena. How are you? Okay. All right. I can see there's a few of you here, and hopefully I'll be able to see your comments as we go. Does everything look in the right direction for you, Lena? Just let me know if it all looks right to you. I can see comments, I just can't see the view. So for some reason, it's not totally working properly, but I can see you're there. So this is at least a good start. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Lena. So we're going to make this card here tonight, or I'm going to, and if you guys want to follow along, you can. And I may even actually do this card as a class. So if it's something you really like after watching it, I will likely be doing this one and a couple of other ideas that I have swirling around after making this one. So stay tuned for that. How many of you guys have this bundle? This is the Arctic Bears. I actually just used the dies. I haven't used the stamps from it yet, but these are the stamps. And I believe I have the dies right here that I can show you guys. I lied. The dies are not right here. They actually got put away. Should have had those handy to show you. Anyhow, I used the one die from the coordinating dies to die cut this little bear. I thought it made him look like a little black bear and that it would go well with some buffalo plaid, but I wanted red, and I could have used the retired celebration paper, but I wanted to use something that was current. So I pulled out the Pattern Party Host DSP and turned it red. So I'll show you guys how I did that. I am just helping someone find my page so they can hop here to watch along with us. Yes to a class. Sounds good. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so I will show you guys what I used to make this. And I'll show you how I did this technique and how I put this together. So I'm just going to get this out of the way. I have actually pre-stamped my greeting. And I started with this paper here. So I'm going to show you how I turned that red. And I have some upcoming embellishments. Did anybody spot that? I think I put in my original post, do you spy the new product? And in case you're doing this along with me, I will show you the rest of what I have here. So I have a white card base. I have a white card layer, 4x5 1/4. And then this is from the Seasonal Labels, I think it's called. And then a stitched scallop border. I don't need that little greeting strip. And then I have some of these sweet little trees from the cork paper and my little bear. So I'll put these aside for now. And then we'll get into this technique here. So I'll actually switch out this mat. I'm going to cover this one up with a glossy mat. I use this one as much as I can on video so that you guys don't get the awful glare. But for this technique, I want to use a glossy mat so that it doesn't absorb into this matte finished one at all. Hi, Lori. So let's move those aside for a second. I will just cover this one up and tape this down. And then I can do my technique to this. I'm going to put some gloves on. You can probably see my hands are already stained from having made this card earlier. But if I can avoid doing that again so that I don't get red all over the rest of my card afterwards, I'm going to do my best. So I have the old brayer. So I'm going to use this one, but you could use the sponge brayer for this. But I have this one and I love it, so I'm just going to go ahead and use that. And I wasn't sure actually that I had very many spare sponge rollers, and you know how red ink is. I didn't want to fight with trying to clean it out, so we get this brayer for today. All right, so I'm just going to leave this paper on here. I'm going to ink up my brayer. So you just roll it. When you're inking your brayer, you don't want to go back and forth like this, or you'll just continuously ink the same part of your wheel. So you want to roll forward, lift up, and then come to the other side. So just keep inking like that. And this will make a nice mess of my mat here, but I can just rinse it off because I have this laminated. So I'm going to just go a little bit off, and then I'll just brayer that on here. So because this isn't porous, I can actually push that ink onto here too and use that up. So I just keep rolling that onto there, and then I'll re-ink my brayer. I find it's a good idea just to do your first roll onto the side so you don't get a really harsh line on your paper. And you can see why I'm wearing gloves for this. So as I hold the paper down there, it will stain my fingers, which I don't mind. They're always inky, but I just don't want to put a nice red fingerprint on my white card. Especially not while you guys are trying to watch me make it. All right, so I'm just using up that ink that's on here. There we go. So now I have red buffalo plaid instead of the white, which was what I wanted to go with my little country rustic Christmas card. All right. This is a brayer, Kathy. You might even have one. I think I saw one in your mom's stuff when you sent me a picture. We do have the sponge brayer as well, though, that you could always still purchase. So I'm going to just set this aside, and before I do the rest of my card, I'm going to do a little step to the label on my card while I have this mat out. So I will just take those gloves off, and I'm going to bring in this little label, but I'm going to move these things over so that I can work with a spot on my mat that is not covered in red ink. So we'll just shimmy this over a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. But there we go. So you can see here, I have some little black flecks through that label there. So I am going to just take the tip of my black blends and just fleck through here. So just gently, you don't want to go really hard on your tip of your markers. So just a gentle fleck through there. So there we go. Now I've got some little spatter on there. I'll keep this one here. I'm going to leave this aside, and actually I'll heat set that a little bit with my heat gun just to make sure that the ink is dry. So you'll hear my heat gun here for a second. So what are all of you guys doing with your Friday night besides watching me, or with your weekend? Let me know what you guys are up to. I would love to zoom in more, Lena. I don't know how with a Facebook Live, which is silly. I'll see if I can. I'll try to figure that out. Give me 1 second once I set this down. I'll have to learn how to do that. Okay. Just don't want to get that red ink on my mat, so. Yeah, I don't know how to zoom in. I better not double click on the screen. Housework so far. We've got that to do afterwards as well. So fun. All right. So other than that, there's not a whole lot to this card. I've got my little greeting there. That one I think is from Be Jolly. Yeah, I used that from Be Jolly. That's where that little greeting is from. I thought it was kind of cute with the little bear. So you can see I already have a little dot of red on there. So first what I'll do is attach my border. I actually need to trim that down. I don't want it so tall. So I'll take a little bit off the top. I love this little cutter for these things. Do you guys have a little cutter? What's your favorite trimming tool? So I'm just giving a little slice above that stitched line. That was not very straight though. So I just need to take a little bit more off. There. So if anybody would like this card, you guys have a chance to win it. I actually took too much off of that, so I'll have to fix that after. But you guys have a chance to win the card by sharing my video. So if you like the card, if you want to win it, feel free to share this video and then come back and comment to let me know that you did. Unfortunately, nobody shared last week, so there are no winners of last week's card. It is super handy. I would love to go to a craft sale, Lena. I have not been to one in forever. I really wanted to go to Scattered Seeds this year, but it was sold out. So I didn't get to go. Okay, so I have just put a thin piece of tape there. I usually use the Stampin' Up! Tape, but sometimes I want just a skinnier piece. I'm actually going to trim just a little bit more off that to straighten it out so I don't have to go back and doctor this afterwards. Just bear with me. Are you guys picky that way, or do you just leave it and go with it? You guys know me. I'm picky. It's got to be straight. There we go. Much better. Now, I forgot that I had not trimmed this to fit already. So what I usually do is cut it a little bit longer than needed, and then I can trim the sides off so that they're symmetrical. So I will just flip this over now and trim those off. Now those are even. And then this is going to get glued to the bottom. And just to the bottom of this 4x5 1/4 layer. I believe it's from Hand Penned Lori, the stitch scallop border, but I will look it up for you and then I'll add in the comments which one it is. Pretty sure that's the one. It doesn't even go back in its case because I use it all the time, so it just stays in my little magnetic tray that I was showing you guys, I think last week. And so I never remember which set it's actually from, but I should look that up. There we go. So that's attached to there. And then I have some white baker's twine. I use it all the time, Lori. It's definitely one that I don't think I'll ever get rid of, but I just keep it in here all the time. You can see it already has washi tape stuck to it because we've been using it a lot. It's one of my go-to favorite border dies. So when I tie this, I like to just leave it on the roll. Obviously I can't do that for classes, but for myself, I usually just tie it off the roll. So I leave a nice amount to tie my bow, and I'm gonna just wrap around twice, and then I'll trim off enough to tie the bow. I also, here's a trick for you guys. I can't remember if I've showed this here or not, but I have these tiny little glue dots, and I like to take one and I place it where I'm going to tie my knot. So I know that I want my knot to be about right here. So I'm placing that glue dot on top of my first round of twine. And did I? Yeah. Just wanted to make sure I had enough to tie my bow. So now I've tied a little knot, and I'll just tack that down to the glue dot, and now this isn't going to unravel on me while I'm trying to tie my bow. It's super frustrating when you are fighting with tying a bow and the knot doesn't stay nice and snug, and then by the time you've tied your bow, the knot is hanging off your card. So if you just put a little glue dot underneath there first, it keeps it in place. And if you don't have those tiny little glue dots, you can just roll the larger ones. So the ones that Stampin' Up! Sells, you can just take it and roll it right on the roll, just like that. And then you just have a skinnier little glue dot that you can tack underneath your bow or your knot so that you can tie that bow. I think I saw Sharon and Sandy join in, and Christine. Hi guys. All right, so I have this layer here. This one I'm going to attach with dimensionals. So I'll put that on next. Are you guys dimensional people? I think we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. I love dimensions, so sometimes I have to limit myself from putting too many layers of dimensions on. You can look at my fingers. I should have dried that a little bit more or let it sit a little bit longer, but maybe I should have prepped one ahead of time. Hopefully I won't get red fingerprints on top of anything. I'll have to just use some stamp cleaner to get that off real quick. All right. Nobody wants a red fingerprint in the middle of their card. Okay, so that is on there with dimensionals. I have a paper towel here, so I'm just going to quickly try to get the red off my fingers. I don't know about you guys. I could not finish the card with gloves on, though. That would be too much. All right. So next, I will build the layers on here. So we'll just set that aside. And I have the mini dimensionals, so I'm going to use those for my trees. And I'll start with, I like to dry fit things, so that is just placing it down without actually gluing it. So I'll just place everything kind of where I think it's going to go, and then that way I can just make sure it all fits where I want it to. So I'll just grab this tree. Hi Kathleen. Hi Linda. So get this little guy. I love these trees too. I think they're so whimsical. Do any of you guys have these yet? We did in Color Club with these back in the summer, I think. We used them so long ago. But these few trees are some of my favorites, or these couple trees. It's two little dies. We've been using them lots too. Do you guys find that you have a few favorite things that you tend to use a lot through a season? So that's just some little dimensionals on there. I have overlapped these slightly. Now I can put this next one down. I love the cork paper. It is actually leaving. It's not going to stay with us after the holiday catalog, which makes me really sad. I was hoping that it would stay. I use it a lot this season. Okay, so now this little guy, I will glue dot, or not glue dot, sorry, dimensional him onto there. I think he's adorable. I feel like this is one I won't be able to let go of either, just because this little bear feels so Canadian, especially with the buffalo plaid. All right, so I've got that. Now, this is just a strip of paper. This is not a fancy die or anything like that. I just used some paper and then trimmed down with my little trimmer to make it smaller to fit my project. So then I'll just use my scissors and cut on an angle just to give it a little bit of something. The little bear is from the, I think they're called Polar Bears dies. They coordinate with the Arctic Bear stamp set, and I'll actually do a class with this one. I have another card in mind. I've got a bunch of pieces cut out for it already, so I'll play around afterwards. And maybe this weekend I'll have the sample to share with you guys, but we'll see how the idea in my brain turns out on paper. All right, so then this little guy, I'm just going to dimensional on top of here. So I need to do one dimensional over the bear and a double decker underneath this part here. So what I'm gonna do is just flip this over because I like this placement. I want it to slightly overlap the bear. Oopsie. And right at about where the R's are, I can see that I have space between the two tree trunks. So I want to do a double decker of a half a mini dimensional. So I'll show you guys what I mean there. And my way to make sure that it's placed right is to just flip that over right on top of where I like it placed. And I'm going to just scoot it over a tiny bit. And then that way, when I flip it back over, the dimensionals will be in the right spot and not too far to one side. They'll be right between those trees. So the trick to that is I've got half of a mini dimensional there. Peel the backing. I have another half of a mini dimensional. Oopsie. And now I'll stick it on top of that. You just have to remember to peel the backing in between. Otherwise, they're not going to stick together. It'll just lift off from the other backing. So now, with the single decker here and the double decker here, I can place that just right over top of here. And I'm going to just place this on here first, just to use the pattern of the buffalo plaid to help me make sure I'm putting this on straight. I'm going to put it on here and then find when I'm ready to put it onto the card that it's not. There we go. And I could probably trim a little bit more off there, but I can do that after as well. All right. So all we have to do now is just dimensional the back of this little sandwich and put it on the card. And then there's one last step. So the last step is the sneak peek of new product that is coming. And I already love these guys. They're nice and neutral. And then for this, I just tucked that right up to the bow and tried to get about equal spacing on the sides and the top. There we go. I think that's straight. And then this way here, my little bow will just kind of fall right over the label. So there we go. Just one little step left now. These little embellishments. So I will show you guys. I think I showed them in an unboxing, but you'll get to see them in use here. So these are the classic matte dots. I actually used them a couple weeks ago when I did the little gift card holder that I had given my team who participated in Onstage, but I used up all the white ones. So this does have the vanilla, gray, black. The white are all gone. I had exactly the right amount of those to use for their gifts. So now I'll just place this little triangular pattern of the matte dots. And if you don't have a take your pick tool, I think I told you guys this last week, it's a really great stocking stuffer. So don't miss out on that. Okay, so there we go. I will bring that a little closer for you guys to see. I really love that little bear. And then you can even just tuck the tail underneath his face if you don't want his face to be hidden. So how many of you guys have those polar bear dies? Anybody? Oh, you're waiting on yours now. Yay, you'll have to show me if you make this card. That was Kathleen who said she had hers. I think it's the polar bear dies. That's what you mean, right? Thank you. All right, so this is the card for today. I won't keep you guys too long here tonight, but I have a couple of announcements before we go. So don't forget to share this. If you guys share it and then come back and comment to let me know that you did, I will do a draw for the card I just made to give away next Friday, and I'll put that in the mail to whoever wins it. but you do have to just make sure you come back and tell me that you shared, just so that I know that you did. We can't always see who has shared. Oh, you're waiting on the whimsy trees. I love those. Yes, Lena, get the cork before it's gone. I hope it's not sold out already, but I use it a lot. So announcement number 2, my all-day retreat for next weekend. I had posted that last night was the registration deadline, but I actually can't order. Well, I could order today, but it wouldn't ship today because Stampin' Up! Is closed for Thanksgiving still. And so I decided to just extend the last call, and I'll get the last order in on Sunday night so that it arrives Wednesday. And local people, I could still get you a kit if you're interested. So I will show you guys a little peek at one of the cards that we're doing. This one is one of my favorites. And there's 2 classes that are included with the day. Or 3 actually. There's a scrapbook page class and then 2 card classes. I'll just bring in another card. This one here is one that we are going to make with the Memories and More cards. Everybody gets the full Memories and More kit with their class. So this is one of the cards that we're going to be making during that event. And then I have another one that I'll show you guys a sneak peek of from the class that kicks the event off on the Friday night. It's a bonus class that people can opt into or not. And this is one of the cards that we're going to make during that class. So you'll see it is a take on this one. So I took this idea here and then turned it into this card here for our other class. So the all-day retreat is $125, and you get the ginger red and peppermint bundle. And then you get the Memories and More cards, you get the craft paper, some of the DSP, some of the ribbon, you get everything from that whole suite. And then we have the 3 classes throughout the day and the bonus add-on class for Friday night. And I have one more thing to let you guys know about. I do have a Black Friday special. I will post the graphic for it later. This one will run until Sunday as well. So if you are in need of adhesive to catch up or to stock up after all of your holiday crafting, or to make holiday cards, or to put in stockings, I have a special for you. So if you purchase 5 adhesives, you will get the 6th one free. So anybody who is interested in that, I'll post a graphic just as a reminder that will be going on from now until Sunday, and then you can get in on that order that I have going in on Sunday if you're in need of adhesive. So that will be my Black Friday special number 1, and hopefully it will help you guys out with your holiday crafting. So there you go. There's my 2 cards. And if there's any questions, I will scroll back through here and come back and answer them for you guys. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining me.